Greetings. This is attorney Della Welch, and I want to do a supplemental tape today talking a little more about Family Code 4320 and the many factors in cases involving spousal support that are involved in closing argument. 4320, by way of review, looks at various factors such as the earning capacity of each party relative to maintaining an established standard of living. Usually they stipulate to a middle class standard of living. But with the pandemic, many people have lost their job. I know someone who lost their job twice during the pandemic, and that affected the standard of living. And then many people have taken trips back before the standard of living, such as they went to the Bahamas, they went to Disney World, but that's no longer possible in the pandemic and the recession and the high inflation at this time. Also, if there are two households, you can't support them with the same money that one household could do it. So it's really impossible to maintain the established standard of living as middle class. Also, look whether the party seeking support has retained marketable skills for the local job market. For example, many people have very excellent communication skills. They have excellent computer skills, and these can be sold in the job market today. There's many jobs out there. When I graduated from college, there was a huge abundance of teachers. I graduated as a teacher, and there were very few jobs as a teacher. But now the marketplace looks very good. And also look if there's a time period required for education or training to obtain marketable skills. Now with trade schools, that time is shortened a great deal. I know people who've become drug counselors after short training, locksmiths after short training. And then look whether periods of unemployment during the marriage may negatively impact on the earning capacity returning to the workforce. Many women are home with children for many years, and this time period has interfered with them joining the workforce. Also look at the extent to which the workforce will interfere with raising custodial children. If all the children are in school, then it's much easier for the woman to get a job. Otherwise, she may have to hire preschools or things like that, and the costs be shared. Look at whether the supported spouse contributed to the education and professional license or job training of usually the husband or the other partner, depending on the situation. That has to be factored in. And then now looking at other factors, whether the ability of the obligor to pay based on earning capacity, available assets, and standard of living. So look at their earning capacity. Generally, they have to work just one job, but if they choose to work two, they'll look at that as earning capacity. Look at available assets. Some of these marriages, such as in Hollywood, have large available assets, and that factors in. And also the standard of living. Look at the available assets in your particular divorce and argue that that would reduce the need for support. And then you look at the debts and obligation of each of the parties. In terms of debts, what I found in doing divorce is that the divorce causes the other side to run up a lot of separate property debts. For example, they may have lost their job and they have to go drastically in debt and run up a lot of debt, so that fact that the partner lost their job, like may lost it twice in a pandemic, interferes with their ability to earn. Generally, what happens, the marital debts are divided equally, but you can indicate that the other party has large separate property debts, and that should be factored in. And also look at the number of years the marriage lasted. If it's over 10 years, it's considered a long marriage, and there's a presumption of lifelong support. But there's a way you can rebut that. You can have a vocational evaluator evaluate the supported spouse and see really what they can do, and they should be given notice that they've got to work on being self-supported. The tax consequence of a support award, usually under state taxes, support may be deductible by the supporting spouse, so you need to research that. And then look at the hardships balanced against each party. And then also look if there's a criminal conviction of either party. And then also they look at domestic violence is a part of a support award. Look for documented evidence of domestic violence by one party perpetrated by the other party. What is domestic violence? You can have a plea of no contest by the one who committed the violence. You can look at the amount and type of emotional distress to the spouse or children caused by the act of domestic violence. Look for a history of violence on record between the perpetrator and the party seeking support. You can contact the police departments to get police reports, and there's certain rules on whether that's hearsay and what can come into evidence. Look for the court order of a protective order against the perpetrator. Now, if there are any further acts of domestic violence occurring during the legal separation or divorce proceeding, that can also be presented. So suppose the husband was found guilty of a DVRO, but then maybe there were acts during the marriage of the wife knocking the husband in the head or things like that that can rebut that. So that's important to look at. And also, when you're dividing property, one of the big resources is the Blue Book value. There's what they have, the Kelly Book, and you can look and you can see what the value of that family van is, and then it should be divided in half if the other party is taking that one. So be sure and list all of the credits that you're claiming. Maybe there's various loans that you should be credited for. And also they may want to look at attorney fees. Usually if there's a 401k or something like that, a QDRO, a QDRO, is required to divide that up. And it's a good idea to ask for the cost of joining such plan to be split equally. When I first did divorce in 1982, attorneys were doing most of the QDROs. But what happened is there's more complication and so forth. A specialist now, an attorney specialist, you can look on the Google, does this joinder and that kind of thing. So that needs to be taken care of in your case. There is another case called Gavron, Gavron, and that's the one that instructs the wife to be